You can see the pucker of it. And this is what he does.
It started with water pouring through the ceiling and behind the walls. The ceiling sagging, paint peeling, and walls swollen with moisture. But this persistent leak inside this Albany apartment would soon turn into something much worse. Behind the walls, a hidden danger was growing.
September of this year that just passed, I woke up with mushrooms. They begin to form in different ways to the point they develop to mushrooms that are infecting our bodies, that are making us sick.
Shara Lee Gaines learned mold had taken over her home, infecting her family. The situation inside was so bad, mushrooms began growing out of the ceiling, a sign of extreme long-term water intrusion in the building.
The mushroom spores, it has affected them with brain fogs, mood swings, respiratory, asthma, repeated steroids that is impossible for us to continue to live with taking steroids.
Surrounded by toxic spores, Gaines says her children have become very ill, requiring frequent visits to the doctors.
Repeated back and forth to the hospital, repeated routine urgent care visits from the doctors, sent out of the doctors into the emergency room centers.
After her children were evaluated by pediatric pulmonology at Albany Medical Center, their provider linked their worsening health conditions to the family's living environment. In a letter, the provider writes the children's respiratory symptoms have increased notably in severity over the past 4 to 6 months, citing the home environment as the cause of chronic inflammation, breathing issues, sleep disruption, and behavioral instability. The records also state one of the children now requires increased respiratory medication in the setting of ongoing mold exposure. The children were also seen by specialists at ENT and allergy services, where a physician assistant wrote they are very concerned for the welfare of the family and that they should be removed from the home altogether. In the note, the provider calls the apartment a, quote, toxic situation, writing, I am aggressively treating their condition. However, this will be futile unless they are removed. The provider linking the children's ongoing health issues to the continued mold exposure inside the apartment.
But meanwhile, we're being sick and nothing has been done. No licensed plumber has been here. It is still not rectified for the moisture in the walls, and therefore there has not been any proper remediation done.
I visited the Clinton Avenue apartment to see for myself.
This is where the mushrooms.
From what I saw, the damage appeared far from gone. Just above the toilet, peeling paint from water damage exposed what's beneath.
Can't use our bathroom since December.
Brown water stains decorate the walls.
This right here is from the roof.
And as for the mushrooms that were growing out of the ceiling,
all they did was cut it.
Yeah. Some may ask, why not just move?
Well, that's what's in the plan. However, when you have hopes for everything to be done, and because I have Section 8 as well, Section 8 has to go through a process to put you in a place.
City records show the property has been cited multiple times, requiring action to address the mold.
I'm very proactive with dealing with things. I don't let things linger.
I tracked down the property owner, Corey James. He tells me a different story, claiming he tried to get the work done, but was halted by code enforcement and the tenant.
In September, when she contacted you about the mushrooms, did you contact a remediation company then to take care?
No, I didn't.
The problem is probably very serious if there's mushrooms growing out of the ceiling.
I mean, to be honest with you, if it's growing, you're sitting there watching it, you should say something.
So, why not right then and there have a, licensed remediator come to take care of the mushrooms and the rest of the mold?
At that point, like I stated, I'm going off of my knowledge, with things. And with that being said, like I said, I'm learning as I'm going in terms of dealing with certain steps to take care of things like that. So, I didn't know the extent of the damage, just thought it was just probably from the water.
Corey James did send a handyman to the home 5 days later. Video shows him cutting the mushrooms off from the wall.
Hold on. I need them to check it.
That he cut out the area, he cut out the sheetrock, treated it with spray, mold spray, and he patched the area back.
I think it was pesticide that was used.
Pesticide? What kind of pesticide was that?
So they sent me a picture of the pesticide used, the spray that was used, and it said pesticide on the can.
Okay, I think that's when he was filling it in, but I spoke to him about that, and he understood where I was coming from because that was a mistake on his part. But he got the correct materials after and took care of it.
The tenant contacted James in September after noticing the mushrooms. She then contacted code enforcement the following month. Ultimately, he said the remediation work was pushed off until March 23rd of this year. But that day, James said the tenant denied them access to the apartment.
The remediator actually the day of presented his ID, a copy of his certification and ID. That same day with the police present, that point I said, we're just gonna have to see what transpires with the court case because, if she's preventing me access and I can't do anything.
I know she first saw the mushrooms in September, she said.
Mhm.
So I'm just curious, why did it take 6 months?
It's 6 months because she contacted building code, she contacted Section 8. So with building code, what they had me do was contact a licensed mold tester.
James says after initial testing was done, code enforcement required additional air quality testing for the entire building, pushing the timeline back further.
And her involvement of the city authorities significantly impeded my client's ability to make the repairs because significant administrative processes were required through the city's procedures.
The results of the assessment came back in January showing a heavy presence of a fungi called Cladosporium, a common indoor mold that can cause allergies and asthma in some people. The case is now going through Corporation Counsel, the city's legal department, which can seek further action against the property owner.
The way that tends to work is that Corporation Counsel will penalize the landlord for not making the repairs, but they're usually not forcing the landlord to make repairs.
Tenants advocates say regardless of who is to blame, the issue is how long cases like this can drag through the system.
It's not even code enforcement's fault at the end of the day. It's that the laws aren't allowing code enforcement to do issues, and the bureaucracy around a city is likely not allowing code enforcement to utilize the emergency repair fund, which exists and should prevent housing from being taken off the market and should prevent mushrooms growing in your ceiling, but it's not being used.